All right. First question is, how has listening to music changed since you were a child?
Since I was how
A child.
a child.
Younger.
Okay. When I was 5, which was 1938, we had a tall radio in the living room, and it was maybe 4 feet tall and 2 feet wide, and that was the family gathering spot to listen to the news. Everybody listened to the news at night. And when Daddy would come in from work, we'd have dinner, and then we'd go in the living room and listen to the news. That was interesting.
That's good.
Then when I became a teenager, I worked at Sears, and I got to work in the radio department. And at that time, the radios were mostly battery operated. For the people, ours in town had power, but outside the town did not have power at that time. And so the radios were battery operated. And those radios would be, 2 feet wide and 6 inches deep, 12 inches deep. And they had to have batteries. And so I got to sell batteries for those radios. That was interesting. And then later on, I guess in the 40s is when we got our television. We started. So.
Well, let's talk about how you got the television.
The first TV I saw was with my uncle in Atlanta. We'd gone to visit them for the weekend. And he had a black and white TV, and we'd watched everything on there from I can't think of what you call it now, the patterns that would even come on, anything. You looked at all of it. You didn't turn it off, and it stayed on day and night, And you just sat mesmerized because here's something we've never seen before. And that was fun. And then finally, Daddy got a television at home, and we had that. And it was black and white for a long time. And then finally got color, which was interesting. Yeah.
Right. What was a memorable historic event that you lived through, and how did you find out about it?
The beginning of World War II. We had the radio on, of course, and they were talking about Pearl Harbor being bombed. And that's one thing I really remembered. And that was, Daddy was afraid he was going to be going in service, but it so happened that his job kept him from having to go. My mother had 3 brothers, and they were all in military service. One was a Marine, and one was the Air Force, and one was Army.
Okay. And how has the internet changed how you get the news?
Oh, it's wonderful. Because now I can see grandchildren that I couldn't see. When my children were little, we would make pictures with a camera, have them developed, and then send them to grandparents to see. And now with internet, you can talk to them every day. In fact, Sarah talks with her grandchild every day, and that's wonderful. So that's real progress and something to be thankful for.
That's good. And the last question is, what do you remember about getting the news as a child?
I knew what?
What do you remember about getting the news as a child? When you were younger.
Getting a new what?
Getting the news.
Oh. Mostly the news of what?
The news.
Anything. It was just an exciting day. At the end of the day, that was the highlight of the day. After dinner, we'd go in and listen to the news, sit by the radio, and then there would be cartoons of crazy people, Amos and Andy and things like that we would listen to after the news. So that was fun.
That's good.
Yeah, had some fun along with it.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. That's all the questions I have.
Great. Yeah, that's good. Didn't hurt a bit.